All right, I have to read this fucking tweet. I'm sorry, I have to. This is from Millionaire Habits, Steve. Steve on speed.
We both want to be millionaires, so obviously this is important to us.
Yeah, it's more money than I have now, so this will be helpful. Okay. By age 30, you should have a group of friends that talk business, money, and fitness, not politics and pop culture.
All right. Okay. Well, we're both over 30. I want to be a millionaire. Let's see if we can do this.
Okay. Tom, talk business.
Whew. Okay. The yield curve last inverted in August 2019. Okay. Now, Joe, talk money.
$80 is better than $45. Let's talk fitness.
Push-ups.
Pull-ups.
Sit-ups.
Presidential fitness test. Blue badge.
Javelins.
Pancreation. Now let's not talk politics.
Locally, nationally, and globally, everything is going super good. Joe, do you want to talk about pop culture?
No. We did it. We did it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Anime Sickos. It's the podcast for geniuses and the only podcast where we look at the four pillars of modern misery, anime, gaming, posting, and jobs. I am Tom, an anime sicko.
I am Joe, an anime sicko.
We got two new patrons, Joe. Two new people to thank for giving us money for... Well, I normally I say no reason, but like I'm being very real now.
Our delightful goofs.
Yeah, the secret project that we've been alluding to that we are working on. Well, I got a big fucking budget spreadsheet for that, and we're spending a lot of money on that, and it's coming from the Patreon mostly. So thank you. You are allowing a very dumb thing to come into the world, and who is helping? Who is allowing this? Well,
who's giving us seed money?
Yeah. We're VC guy. No. The person who gives the money is a VC guy. We're fucking scammers.
We're human functions that turn the money into something else.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, the new VC guys are, we got Mark Moses. Mark, you have Jesus's powers. I understand. That's how names work, right?
Yeah, Moses and Jesus had the same powers, yeah.
Yeah. It's like Superman and Captain Marvel.
Yeah, they're both in the Bible, where everyone has the same power set, yeah.
Yeah. And then this next person has the first patron to take us up on our hint, and by hint I mean we said out loud and explicitly that we like it if your username on Patreon is a funny phrase. They've done that. They're the first one after the initial one. The person is called I Saw a Picture of Tom and Joe, and they look exactly like they sound.
That's true.
Parenthetical derogatory.
Yes. Okay. Good. It really lives and dies by that parenthetical, and crushed it.
Every time we post a picture of us, there's at least a few people who are like, "Oh my god, the Sickos face reveal!" And it's like we posted a ton of pictures of us. It's just that it's not very frequent. You can find us. We look like shit.
It's just like I'm at home all the time. Basically, I live in my stupid cage. So like, there's not pictures of me out and about like Bigfoot.
Yeah, and like I'm not gonna take a selfie of me because I'm like, damn. My jammies looking good today. It's like, no, your jammies are my jammies. I know how they look. The same. Anywho.
Wonderful name. Really good.
Yeah.
This is really fucking good.
Thank you for patronizing us. You are allowing us to pay a lot of other people to collaborate on this stupid project to do funny parts. Anywho. Joe, let's talk for real. Let's talk not in character about that fucking post that we just talked about by Steve on Speed. That shit sucks.
It sucks. Here's my academic opinion on the matters. big old fart noise. I do not like it. So what is on display here immediately is that the belief that people who do not do these things suffer from a social contagion that can bring you down. Just like you like rushed to the ER because you're like, I shared a subway car with a bunch of people who didn't have hustle. I need you to fix my vibes.
Also, like, not to say that politics and pop culture are like inherent goods, but I think the difference is, with regard to them being conversation topics, that they like keep making more of them. There's like new of them. Like, am I crazy? Or like business, money, and fitness, it's pretty much going to be the same. Like, what's there to talk about? Like, get money, do the business, be fit. Like, we just had the conversation.
Yeah, we said sit-ups. You're right.
I said javelins.
My take on the not politics part is very fun because it's like a dumb guy move. It's a dumb guy move to be like, things exist outside of politics. And I don't mean like, oh yeah, like argue about everything, but it's just the belief that you can just like cordon off and be like, oh no, this is a political free subject that does not exist in the human experience, which is a bunch of waging wills trying to impose themselves on one another.
I think it's especially funny that he's like, don't talk politics. Instead, talk money. But don't talk about who issued the money.
Yeah, like they're not related.
Like, why do we all agree that money has value? Is it because it's been backed by some sort of force that has an authority over us?
Yeah, a gun.
I especially love by age 30, because that's like, he could have just said you should have a group of friends that talk about these stupid things and not the fun things. But by age 30 has a real like dark energy to it. Yes,
it has your 20s are over. Now it's just the grind.
Yeah. It's not even that. It's like, I know that you might be tempted to spend your youth having fun, but no. You should get started on the stupid grind before. Oh shit, did you see this reply? It's the same guy. It's Steve on Speed, the Millionaire Habits man, who teaches you the simple habits of millionaires.
Is he himself a millionaire? Like, if he's not, then fuck off.
There's no way for us to know. But he replied to his own post with this. One of the biggest mistakes I've ever made was making friends with like-minded folks who talked about the same shit over and over. I agreed with 99% of it. Your comfort zone will kill your progress. Well, Steve, like-minded folks who talk about the same shit over and over, that's Anime Sickos podcast. And it's great.
Steve, let me tell you about the greatest time of my life. It was a period several years ago where all I did on the weekend after working at my telecom job was I would go drive to the suburbs and play Monster Hunter with Chuck, and we would eat Harold's Chicken, and all we talked about was Monster Hunter and the things we needed to grind.
You were on the grind.
I was on the grind. Like that was it. And we talked about the same shit over and over again. Like, you would think we would get bored, but no, because there's a lot of monsters. And I just want to be clear that it is the most fun I've ever had, basically. Like, my wedding was good, but
there were no Nargacugas.
Yeah, and like the first time you drop a huge beastie that's been kicking your ass with a buddy, is just you just feel the social friend link go up a level.
Speaking of Chuck is the king. He did our music. He was our first guesto. I recently broke my computer completely to the point where, so one of the main things you want a computer to do is output any video. And it was no longer doing that. And I got very scared, and I was trying to Google the issue, but I couldn't put it into words exactly what was happening, because I kept getting results that were not what was actually happening. It was something else. It was something similar, but it's not actually what was happening. And then I thought to myself, wait a minute, what am I fucking doing looking on the internet? And so I sent Chuck a fucking message on Discord, and Joe, would you believe that within half of an hour, everything was fine?
Hell yeah.
This kid's a fucking genius. Why am I saying kid? He's the same age as me, if not older.
Yeah. But unlike you, Cisco certified.
Yeah, baby.
Tom, can I get a Malcolm Gladwell update? How does he look right now?
He's a fucking piece of shit. He's an awful mummy. He came out of the grave. He has a big curse on him. He has he's carrying 2 sticks that he's crossing over his chest. One of them has a curve on the end. The other does not.
Has age been kind to his strange white guy fro?
I don't know. Probably not. I don't think it ever looked good. It looks like shit. He's awful. I hate him. He's in the news again for being on the Epstein plane. Wait, no, I misread it. No one talks about that because he is powerful, so it has been determined that that was normal. He's in the news because he says that if you work from home, fuck off.
Yeah, he's decided his new hobby horse will be the evils of work from home. And here's the thing, we're going to be hearing about this for the rest of our lives. We will, because how businesses do all their laptop jobs has fundamentally changed. I'm fully aware that this is not a economy-wide sort of change, but people will be working from home.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that fact, there is this forever thing to yell about. It's almost like a cancel culture you can point to. There's just this forever narrative, the thing that always generates a controversy. You can be like, all right, it's making you lazy. You can't actually be productive in sweatpants. All these very strange things.
Yeah, it's... you know what it is more than anything? It feels like... Because we talked about this in the past. The skills gap as being sort of this exact thing you're talking about, just a hobby horse that these freaks can get on every time they feel like no one's listening to them enough, and then you start whining, skills gap. You should be hustling. You should be learning R on your free time. That kind of thing. That sort of doesn't happen anymore because a lot of workers died of plague, so there's not as many of them to mope about anymore. So the new thing to say is this, and I forget where I was going with this. I just hate this motherfucker. I found some quotes from him, so because I realized I want to quote him because he said stuff that was very annoying, and I want to make sure I'm getting it just right. He has this to say: "It's very hard to feel necessary when you're physically disconnected. It's hard to explain this core psychological truth, which is we want you to have a feeling of belonging and to feel necessary. If you don't feel like we're part of something important, what's the point? If it's just a paycheck, then it's like, what have you reduced your life to?"
The scope of what a job is really creeps out in that, huh? Because
yeah, I do not feel as though my life has reduced because I get the fucking, and I should be clear, especially now more than ever, the precious rare jewel that is a work from home job. I'm grateful. I get down on my knees every day.
You smooch the floor.
Smooching my fucking floor because I don't have to walk miles away from it to do a shitty job. It's that they think that a job is the only, capital O, only thing that gives a life meaning, but usually they're sort of savvy enough to only suggest that. And now he really is saying, being wanted and being in a community is a core psychological truth. And if you're working from home, it's impossible to have it. No. No.
Absolutely not. I would love to know an itinerary of his day. I would.
I think this is very funny because he was slammed after he said this on a podcast. He apparently was weeping as he said it. He meant it so much. He told The Guardian in 2005, "I hate desks. Desks are now banished. I work better when I'm comfortable." He laid out a system of rotating where he cycled between restaurants and spots in the Lower East Side and Soho. In a 2010 op-ed for the Washington Post, he described himself as someone who works in coffee shops for a living. Man, this motherfucker, he goes, alluded to it before. He's on the Epstein plane. He's a pedophile. Fuck off.
His defense was just like, wow, I can't believe I'm here. That's so wacky. Golly.
It's just like, guys. Ooh, I'm remembering the times I was in the office. And when I was in the office and I felt like I was part of a team, you know what it was? It was just a paycheck. Even then. I didn't feel like it was part of anything big. Here, I mean, okay, that's, I think, a key here, is that any job that allows you to work from home, like, still, by definition, that's an email job. Therefore, it was impossible to ever see it as anything other than a paycheck because they're not real. They don't produce anything. Like, it's not real. Like, who could care?
There's also very much a disconnect between... He makes it sound like your job is one without limits. You are setting your own agenda, et cetera, et cetera. Like the job that he is describing and getting excited about is like already someone who's like near the top of management anyway.
Yeah, he basically he's describing a CEO's day.
In many ways, yes, yeah.
Because if you're a fucking plebe going to the office, you don't feel like you're part of a family. You don't have connection. You are, and I think we've said it before once or twice. If not, I think this is a really important... Like, we could probably get a whole episode out of this topic. You're a cog.
Yeah. I'm hearing that for the first time, and I really like it.
Really? I'm hearing this for the first time. Wow.
But, like, the people at the top of a company aren't actually thinking, like, oh, wow, I hope the people in the mailroom feel like part of this family. They're not doing that.
No, it's, I want my Funkos. I want to make sure that I have them all. I want to make sure that they're all in mint condition. I want to see if I can intimidate them just with my voice. Wouldn't that be strong? Wouldn't that make me feel like God? God couldn't do that. They can't do that to me.
He did. He weeped. He was weepy.
Yeah, apparently he was weepy on this podcast because he was so emotional about it. And Joe, guess what the name of the podcast is?
Hit me.
Diary of a CEO.
Okay, so yes, so our judgment on the type of job he was imagining was correct.
Yeah.
So okay, fine. I didn't think going to the office was worth the time or the risk or just the effort, frankly. But then I found out a crying guy really wants me to get back in there.
Yeah. He thinks that I've reduced my life.
Oh, I have, but it's nothing to do with job-related things. Like, that's just...
Sicko mode, sicko mode, sicko mode. 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 I get a lot of emails. Have you heard about email? Have you ever gotten one of these?
Yeah. I heard they're going away, though. It's going to get replaced with something better soon.
Yeah, I don't know about that. All I know is I get a lot of fucking emails. I try to unsubscribe from these motherfuckers. It doesn't matter. It wouldn't work. I still keep getting them. So put a pin in that. Next thing to note. When I got my fucking stupid car, I got it from Carvana, which is this website that you can use to buy a car without having to go to a dealership. You fucking look at the cars. They have like 3D views of them. It shows all the dings and whatnots that they have. You buy the car. They bring it to you on a little tow truck. You get to drive it around for a little bit. If you don't like it, you can say, I don't like this, take it away. I thought it was fine, so I kept it. Car's fine. Can't speak highly enough of the Carvana experience, except for the fact that I got a car, which is not good. Other than that, no complaints. I keep getting about once a week, no, more like twice a week. I get fucking emails from Carvana where they're asking me about, like, did you know you can get a car from Carvana? And like, hey, big sale on cars. Check it out.
You know that car we sold you, did you lose it? Are you finding it harder to get around now since you've lost the car?
Buddy, how do you think my email got on your fucking list? I'm sorted.
I had a little bit of a similar thing when I bought an office chair because it was like one of those products that technically could be conceived of as a gaming chair. So all my ads were for the next, year were like, you want another clown vinyl chair that's $900. It's like, no, I already bought the thing. Like, I don't need a second one of those in the home.
This is, I mean, we've talked about this, but like this is so emblematic of how like this algorithm that dictates all of media. This algorithm is the reason why Facebook's data collection made them one of the most profitable companies in the world,
and it thinks you should buy a second car.
Yeah, it's like that. Oh, MF bought a car. Yo, send him an ad for a car. Fuck you.
We're the anime Sickos, and we're here to say anime is bad in a war crimes way.
Joe, can I do something that everybody loves, which is be a white man explaining comedy to you?
Oh, yeah, that's huge. People love that. Yeah, for sure.
Chef's kiss, I'm going to do it. So, long have I had this in my head, this axiom, this belief about the nature of comedy. And I didn't have it on hand. I tried to find it every once in a while. I couldn't. It's difficult, but I finally tracked it down. What I'm talking about is a clip from the show Dr. Katz, Professional Therapist, which when it was on Comedy Central airing for the first time, I was like 6, and I didn't understand that it was jokes. But now I'm an adult, and I know that it's jokes.
We sat down, we did the homework.
Those are comedians in the therapy room. They're not just guys. They're like funny. The specific clip I'm talking about is by the comedian Andy Kindler. And I'm just going to play it right now.
I hate when a comic has a joke and the premise is incorrect. Like, I work with this comic and he opens up his act with, I went in the store and I saw sugar-free chocolate. Who's this for? It's for diabetics. That's who it's for. Walk in a hospital, I see insulin. What's that all about? Who's that for?
I see what you're saying.
Motherfucker, once you know about sugar-free chocolate, and when I say sugar-free chocolate, I mean that to symbolize that entire thought process. Once you fucking know about sugar-free chocolate, every fucking awful, half-wit, cut-rate, lazy comedian is doing it fucking constantly. I saw a clip of stand-up comedy on Twitter intended to promote the comics special. That was, and I'm not kidding, a full minute of jokes about the phrase, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Which, like, the whole premise of his gag was, why wouldn't I want to eat a cake I have? And it's just like, bitch, we know what that phrase means.
Yeah, it's not new.
You're just wrong. Like, sugar-free chocolate, who's that for? It's for diabetics. Fucking stop. No more joke. You're wrong. You can't take step number 2 because step number 1 was fucking wrong. There was another one. I saw a viral post. This post was doing immense numbers. And it was, why does a tire company decide the best restaurants? In reference to the Michelin Guide and Michelin Tire Company that produces it.
So they'll drive there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, you can look it up. Like, you know what I think it actually was? I might be coming down too hard on this guy. He probably thought that the Twitter composed tweet box was Google. He was trying to look it up, but instead he posted it and it went viral. Now that guy's fine. Still though, just like, if there's many things about comedy that drive me fucking nuts, but nothing makes me more mad than when people do fucking sugar-free chocolate, where they just do not. They start from a diseased root, and then the tree that grows from the diseased roots is worthless and should not be. And that clip with Andy Kindler putting it in those words is such a valuable thing to have in your head as a writer, because it's kind of an abstract and complex concept, and he puts it into sharp focus in 20 seconds. Like, you know exactly what he's talking about. Sugar-free chocolate, who's that's for? It's for diabetics. Done. It's like, oh, you know exactly what kind of idiot falls into this trap. You know exactly what kind of idiot sees this trap and laughs along with it, not understanding that, like, actually, you shouldn't be having a good time. You shouldn't be laughing. Smart people like me don't laugh at this. And it just makes me so mad. And Joe, and this perfect, because I've been meaning to talk about this motherfucker for ages. And this is finally giving me an in where there's actual reason for me to do it. And also because he's timely, because he did a sugar-free chocolate joke recently that went over huge and makes me fucking furious. And I do also note that I want to say that there's almost certainly many people that I know who are listening to this, who know this guy in real life and think he's fine, think he's probably really nice. He's actually probably really talented, too. I'm probably going to get people mad and burn bridges by saying this. However, I cannot be stopped. I'm talking about the poster Keaton Patty. This motherfucker is perhaps my least favorite comedian in the universe, because his only joke is sugar-free chocolate. His deal, the reason he's famous, and he has actually a published book of all of this kind of content that I imagine is fairly successful. I mean, the fact that he got it published means he got an advance. His signature thing is to say, I forced a bot to watch over 1,000 hours of some TV show and then asked it to write its own script. He then will attach a number of images, screen caps of script pages where it is a script where the people are talking a little silly. They're talking a little bit goofy. And here's the reason it's sugar-free chocolate. The premise, as he fucking says, the premise is wrong. It is not. He did not make a bot watch it. He just wrote that. He just wrote a silly script and then lied to you. And it always goes over huge, because if the fucking premise was true, it would be very fun. It would be silly and interesting in the way that putting something back and forth through Google Translate was fun when you were in high school, because through an actual fucking robot, machine learning fucking process, some normal words got turned into silly words. That's funny because the premise was true. And then this is just a fucking lie. Like I read you this one. I'm going to read it to everybody. This is the beginning of his script from when Frasier, he made a bot watch 1,000 hours of Frasier and then made it write a script. And the script is this: Frasier, connoisseur of psychology and reader of book, cranes into the living and sees Frasier's dad, who is an old chair. Frasier says this: Father, must you always be? Frasier's dad says, Frasier, sit, have a Seattle. It is...
This reminds me a little bit of, they were comics where basically the gist of it is you had aliens restating human things very strangely.
Yes.
And it's a little bit of that.
It's exactly that. I'm taking a normal thing and I'm restating it in lol random penguin of doom funny talk. Except the thing about those awful alien comics, as awful as they were, they at least had the honesty to be like, I'm a guy writing a comic about what if aliens who didn't understand our culture were trying to replicate funny idioms. It would be like this.
And the other thing about the Alien comic is it's just a worse version of the Clickhole article, Give Me Kiss, which is my favorite version of basically this joke, which is just like, what if you said weird stuff in a normal way? And Give Me Kiss is like, oh, my sweet salami, I can't wait to kiss you, etc., etc. It's just the weirdest one, and it's the best.
The way that a joke is good, and the sugar-free, what the sugar-free chocolate bit is talking about is you have to start by putting the joke into a context that everyone agrees with. Now, this could be like the joke is about something that really is. Like, it's observational. It's making a satirical point about something that really exists in the world. Or you just make up a silly context that everyone agrees with, such as, like, give me kiss, which, like, the context is like, I can't talk. Isn't that weird? Like, it is weird. Like, yes, I agree that you can't talk. You agree that you can't talk. You have set up the rules of this gag. The gag has rules, and we all know them. That's what fucking drives me up the wall about Keaton Patty, is that all of his shit is he lies to you about the context. And he never lies so much that, like, it's clearly deceptive. Like, no one could possibly think this was a joke, which is what makes me super furious. Like, it's always, like, slightly worded that, like, yeah, it's not, but it's not really a bot, you know? But it's so vague that he clearly is intending at least half, if not a majority of the audience to think that it is real, because by thinking it is real, it becomes more engaging, and that's why it takes off, because you think it's real, you think you've bought into the fucking context that he has lied to you about, and because you agree with this context, the joke becomes funnier. If you just think that it's a guy who's writing a bad Frasier script where he says have a Seattle instead of have a beer, that's not very funny. Kill me. And
this is a little bit of why I think we had such a visceral reaction to Johnny's Son a little bit, because it is,
yes,
again sort of just restating basic things as, like, weirdly and cutesy as possible.
And it's like, I don't agree that you're a little alien, man. He didn't commit to the bit hard enough, because, like, even when he was pretending to be an alien, he was still every other post was like him just being like, hey,
yeah,
I got a book deal, and it's like, I decided to write for BoJack, and it's like, wait, I thought you were an alien. Well, if you're not, then why are you doing this fucking bit?
The alien should have had a few comics just like where it lays eggs in a guy's throat. Like, it has to do that.
Yeah, and it's like, this isn't mean. The guy agreed. I found him on Craigslist. He's getting a lot of sexual satisfaction.
And there's no, like, weird puns about what's happening. It's just like, my species needs to do this. The aliens.
So this whole shit with the fucking Keaton Patty lying it reminds me very much of one of the few things that I was taught in college that was actually fascinating and interesting and stuck with me. Of course, it happened when the teacher was clearly trying to fill time teaching us irrelevant stuff. But it was very interesting. It was in a feature writing class for my journalism minor, which was a big waste of time. And we spent like a week talking about all the feature writers in like the 90s and 2000s who like landed on the feature writing scene, blew up, became big, became like rock stars in the field, and then were exposed for basically being total frauds. All of their features were not actually journalism. They had done no research. They had basically written a short story and passed it off as real, much in the same way that Keaton Patty does. And my professor was like, now read these. Like, here are the fucking features that these people wrote that got them famous that are fake. None of these details are true. Read them. And she's like, now notice, like, weren't they like really engaging? Like, weren't they so readable and like interesting? Didn't they have like vivid imagery and like shocking like twists and all that? And we're like, yeah. And she's like, okay, now look a little bit further. Like, is there anything that happened in them that isn't like the perfect thing to have happened?
Yeah.
Every single, and we looked and we're like, oh shit, it's true. Every single character behaves exactly the way that you think they should, which when I had that stupid Onion writing job for 3 months that paid me no money and that I didn't write anything for, they said like one of the ways an Onion makes jokes is they have a character behave exactly the way you think they would. No surprises. And I'm like, what? And then I started looking at the jokes and I'm like, oh my God. A character behaving exactly the way you think you would is the most exciting, brain energizing thing in the world. And so like all the characters in the feature behave exactly as you think they would. They all fit every stereotype. Everything that happens is the most perfect thing to happen. And once you see that, you can reread this feature that you thought was so interesting and vivid, and you immediately see that it is a fraud. You see that it is empty. It is nothing. It is hollow. And having that skill helped me because some shit went around. Some shit went viral. very recently. This is why this whole thing is timely. And I saw that. I saw what it was, and I read it, and I said, I'm getting the same fucking vibes as when I was reading those fake features. You know what this reminds me of more than anything is something that Keaton Patty wrote. And you know what? He did. It's from him. I'm talking about, you may have seen this go around, a viral image excerpt from what is ostensibly an interview with Kate Bush about the song Running Up That Hill, which you may know is back in the charts because it's on fucking Stranger Things. And it says, the interviewer says, what is the meaning behind Running Up That Hill? Now, this is why I do this was a fucking fake, because Kate Bush has been asked that, and has been very open. It's like, well, it's because men and women often in relationships can't understand each other no matter how hard they try, and I wish that their places could be swapped by perhaps God's omnipotent being, so that they would see each other's point of view and come to a better understanding. There's no debate that that's what the song's about. Anyway, what's the meaning behind Running Up That Hill? She says, ostensibly, people ask me that often. Some think it's about literally running up a hill, but it's not. I've never even seen a hill, let alone run up one. Interviewer, you've never seen a hill? Kate Bush, no, never. Why would I do that? Interviewer, I just imagined everyone has seen a hill. There's one right outside this window. Have a look. Kate Bush, I won't be doing that. Please continue the interview without any more hill questions. This is so Kate Bush is wacky. Can you believe? And like, it's not very funny to think that like she hasn't seen a hill. And the only reason that anyone would think this was interesting is if they think it's real. Because
it presents with like, oh, this is an excerpt from an interview, whatever. Like, yeah. Whatever. It's you don't... You do not do a bunch of due diligence. You likely read this excerpt how it's intended. It's presented to you as an image, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. It's not him writing the text in a Twitter post. It is like, look at this. I screen capped this article I found. No, you didn't. You didn't fucking find. When I was looking up this shit to make sure that it was Keaton Patty, because I'm like, I'm pretty sure Keaton Patty did the Kate Bush thing, but let me make sure he did. I was so delighted to find, because all the fucking comments are people saying how funny it is and thinking it's real. And there's one reply that is a hater like me who gets it. He gets sugar-free chocolate. He says, share the source or make up more. You owe us at least that much.
That person understands that they're there to be entertained, and you have peddled lies, which is fine, but just give me more.
Yeah. Like, if you're gonna do your comedy bit, give me more than I don't know what a hill is. Like, continue. Like, please continue. That's not enough. You haven't set up the fucking context that makes that funny. The context that makes that funny is she said that in a real interview. Isn't that fucking nuts? And it would be fucking nuts, which is why it went viral, because people thought it was real. But when you understand that the context of the joke is like, I decided that I would write that Kate Bush said a weird thing. It's like, well, it's not weird enough. Like, if you're gonna make it just be a gag, go for God damn it. And you know what the real reason I hate Kate and Patty is because it's almost 1% all that shit I was saying. 99% I'm jealous. He's so successful.
In many book deals.
He's written for the New Yorker, for The Onion, for Comedy Central, for McSweeney's. He's so much better than me.
Never been horny. Never been horny. Don't tell the paper that I ever got horny.
All right, let's talk about something everyone finds relatable, which is the $4 video game 20 Minutes Till Dawn, available on Steam. A game that is about shooting waves of enemies, completely never before seen concept.
Yeah. If there were vampires you would have to survive, there aren't. There's fucking Cthulhu's. It's Cthulhu's Survivors.
It is Cthulhu Survivor, and we're talking about it because they added a black hole character, by which I mean all the characters are goth. We've said this before, which is what makes the game so wonderful. is that
Goths have special powers.
Yeah, you have your goth roster of special powers, and the goth who just added, her thing is when she reloads her gun, a black hole appears where the cursor, your aim cursor is, and it sucks in enemies. It doesn't damage them initially, but it does sort of suck them in, and this occurs every time reloading happens.
Mm-hmm.
And at first
you sucked.
You were like, "This blows. I hate this. This sucks."
At first, I was like, "This character is worse than a character who has no ability," because Joe, you mentioned, and this is the key, the black hole appears where your cursor is, and when I say cursor, there's a little fucking red crosshair on the screen that is your cursor. Your little goth is always right in the center of the screen. And you move your cursor around, and the only thing that this cursor does for every other goth is determine the angle that you're aiming at. So the distance that your cursor is away from the goth is not relevant. It's just the angle for aiming purposes. So if you brought your cursor to be right next to the goth, you could still aim with it. If you made the cursor way far away from the goth, you could still aim with it. No difference. This shit was turns out you got to be babysitting where your cursor is constantly as you're making all of your movement decisions and as you're actually aiming. Because what'll happen is you'll accidentally make a black hole like 1 inch away from you, and it's going to suck 1,000 enemies up at it at 100 miles per hour, and then the black hole's going to despawn, and then an enemy is got 100 miles per hour of momentum coming directly towards you, and you get hit all the time. Also, the whole point of the game is you shoot a bunch of enemies, they drop a little experience, and then you walk forward into where you just shot to pick up the goodies. Well, forward where you just shot now has a little black hole that's shooting enemies at it at 100 miles per hour, so you can't walk over your doodads. It made me mad.
Yeah, I kind of just thought you were complaining about nothing, honestly. I was having a fine time because what I was doing, using the power of my brain, which is huge, I think my favorite weapon is the revolver, which is just a gun that has 6 bullets and decent damage and a pretty fast reload.
Yeah. It's the Mario of guns.
It is truly the Mario of guns. Anyway, the reason I really liked it with the revolver, the black hole girl, because like the rhythm is you shoot your 6 shots and then you dip your cursor over to a new location to spawn where you want people to be grouped up, and then you go back to shooting everything that isn't that grouping you just did, and like, you can get into a very nice rhythm that way. The idea being when the black hole that you spawn despawns, you've killed everything else, and now the only thing that remains is what is a conveniently clumped group of enemies, which you can kill hopefully with anything that has like penetration or even bounce. In that case works great. So all of that is to say, Tom's complaining was rewarded.
Yeah, teacher said I was right to complain. I got a note from teacher saying that I was a smart boy to whine because, like, I was ready to hear Joe out and admit, like, you know what? I really was just whining because I wasn't good at it right away. I do realize that I just need to get better, and then I'll understand the great game design. Actually, no. There is a patch, and they said, turns out Luna, the goth girl who makes black holes, we designed her wrong. We have changed how her power works, and now the black holes will always spawn a fixed distance away from you. No further, no shorter. And wowee, she whips ass now.
She's way better. There's way less self-damage potential. The thing that is important to realize is that, Tom, sometimes you will complain about a game in a way
that sucks.
That's in a way that is annoying, and you complain as you also expel no effort to do anything. It's like, I'm not having a good time, and like the controller is on the table and your arms are crossed. But the issue is that you also will like play Sekiro for 400 hours.
Yeah, Sekiro rules. That's the difference.
And like that's what drives me nuts. It's like hearing you talk about like all the things you accomplished to like beat Sekiro, and then like in another gaming context, what is like a bridge too far? It's like you want me to push a box onto a Switch?
I don't know how. Joe, I stepped on the switch, but then when I got up off of the switch to go to the door that had just opened, the switch, it went back up and the door closed. So I think this game, okay, Joe, the key that you're missing is that I also fucking moaned about Sekiro like an annoying fucker as well.
Yeah.
I moan about every... Okay, in order for a game to be something that I enjoy, it has to have some level of challenge so that it is actually engaging to play, and it requires my focus and attention. The thing about that is that by sort of definition, that means that I'm not going to be good at it right away, which is
unacceptable.
It's the most unpleasant sensation in the universe is to not be good at something right away. And when I feel that sensation, I have to yell at Joe.
I feel like I'm taking a lot of psychic damage because of your no online rule. So like you're just like dumping what would be the experience of going online, getting your ass kicked by people, and then like complaining to someone. But like you do that you complain to me for everything about that.
Yeah, that's called being a good friend, Joe.
That's true. That's true.
I will say, the thing is, I moan, but then like 2 days later, I'm up in the chat being like, actually, the game doesn't really actually become difficult until Darkness level 7. Darkness level 1 is more of a tutorial mode when you think about it.
There is a transformation that occurs every time, which is when you go from level 1 whiny bitch to a level 16 knowledgeable gamer. And it's always such a fucking whiplash when it happens, because it's just like I wake up one day and you're talking like the other smart way all of a sudden. I'm like, all right, well, you got through it.
Yeah. There was... I gotta talk about this. This is what these little grab bag episodes are all about. When one of us comes up with a joke that is just so good, it's like, how are we gonna share this? And it's like, well, there's no other thing but to just fucking explain it all. This is the context is it's a grab bag. Here's one of the jokes. Joe messaged me one morning. It was the first message of the day, or at least close to it, where he's like, yo, that upgrade in 20 minutes till dawn that makes it so that when you freeze enemies, it does 15% of their max health, plus that upgrade that makes it so that when you shoot an enemy with 20% health or less, they die instantly. Those really go great together. They synergize. And I responded, having $20 really synergizes with having $15.
I was so pissed at this. The reason is because, like, I thought my synergy actually was good. But when you put it like that, I'm like, well, I guess it is fucking stupid.
I mean, you're right that the synergy is good, but it's just like...
Yeah, I didn't appreciate it. It's like, you're right, and I'm upset I didn't realize how stupid the thing I just said was so obviously.
I mean, you were... Every time I take those two upgrades, which I do every run if I can.
You get your $20
so
and you
good.
get your $15.
Like, I'm like, oh shit, $35. Having $35 is really good, dude.
It's the best amount of money.
Joe, we are the Anime Sickos. People think we're an anime podcast for some reason. I don't know why.
We are technically.
Oh, fuck that. Have you watched any anime?
Only The Ranking of Kings, which I obviously enjoyed, although I didn't get to see what fucked up stuff was in the vault at the end, so I'm kind of burned by that.
Yeah, but since then, like, not one episode?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Folks, I asked this because we're never gonna watch anime again. Like, we just don't do it. I have not watched fucking any anime. Here's my explanation. Here's my reasoning. I don't watch TV alone. If I'm watching TV in my little house, it's with my wife, yeah, because she lives here also, and it's a small house. It's an apartment, you might even say, because it is. So, my wife, when we're watching TV, folks, there's a 100% chance that she's playing Animal Crossing and is listening to the TV show like a podcast. Occasionally, I will say there was a sight gag, and I will rewind and I will point at it, and she'll be like, ah ha ha, and then go back down, and then we continue. This is not negotiable, this Animal Crossing shit, and it is not going to stop. If taking this together, I think you can start to understand why subtitled media is simply a no-go. It will not happen. And if you're saying, Tom, why not listen to the dub?
They're done so wonderfully.
The reason is I do not care to. And my experience, Joe, this is just my sort of observation of you and your life from an outsider's perspective. I don't know. From what I understand, you've never turned the TV on at any time.
No, our living room doesn't have a TV, and when we moved in, you were like, "What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?" You were like, "But like, what are you gonna watch when you shovel food into your head?" And we're like, "We nothing." And you're like, "I don't get it. I don't get it."
I still don't. Like, surely you go down to the den where there's a TV to eat, right? Like, right?
No. I think the issue is I get choice fatigue because I don't watch TV the way how my like parents watch TV, which is like you turn it on and you're like, let's find something to watch. It's just like I decided I want to watch TV, but I don't know what that thing is. That to me is like just a deranged leap of faith that I cannot associate with. So what does that leave? It leaves a bunch of fucking apps and stuff to choose from, and then I open up Netflix or any equivalent thing, Crunchyroll. I see tons of options, and then I just play 20 minutes till dawn again because it's something I've already got baked into my working memory.
I will say I just realized I have not been completely honest. I have watched some anime, and it's just, the reason it's brought up because it's very similar to what you're talking about, the paralysis of choice, where it's like there's so much out there, and like I could, it is possible, it's not unprecedented, that I could sell my wife on like we should watch this series, it's gonna be good. I know you're gonna have to not be playing Animal Crossing, but like it's gonna be worth it. Ranking of Kings was one such. However, just like being able to like build up the momentum to be like, yeah, I think that this is worth pitching as a fucking thing to watch, and like sticking to it is the fucking killer. When there's like a huge menu of fucking stuff, I cannot ever come up with it. And even when there is like a hit, because the show that we've been watching in quotes here is Chihaya Furu, which is a sort of romance sports anime where the sport they play is Karuta, which is a card game where you put 100 cards down, and each of the 100 cards has the second line of a poem. And
you told me about this before, and it seems it's anime.
Yeah. Someone reads the first line of the poem, you have to slap the card with the second line before the other person does. It's a good show. We watch it at about a rate of one episode every 2 weeks. So I retain very little. But like, man, it's just hard. It's like hard to the idea of starting a news series knowing that is the pace is like, booyah. It's just no good. You know, the reason is because of fucking modern life turning our brains to mush. You know, everything is not my fault. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, you're victimless and you're a perfect baby that has never made a wrong choice. Although I agree with your sentiment. And one of the things that I think I'm very vulnerable to, speaking to what you're talking about, is like there's clearly a new genre of games being developed as we speak. These vampire survivor likes, these auto attack games where you walk around. And like, I want to play fucking all of them, dude. Like if they're $4. Like I'm sincerely worried that like I'll never play a longer game or anything of length just because it's just like, no. Deep down I just want like Robotron plus pick your upgrade.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I kind of feel you there, except I am also intentionally continuing my Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy pilgrimages, where I go between series back and forth, playing them in order. And those, at least, the JRPG slop is slop, to be clear. It is just total frictionless spheres that are going down my throat, giving me no nutritional value. But at least they're different. And I don't know. I'm at the point. I went so hard on 20 Minutes Till Dawn that I've now have hit the point where I've cleared the hardest level with all goths and all guns. And it's like, I kind of feel free because there's no combination of girl and of goth and gun that
has a number less than 15.
Yeah, the numbers are all red, dude. Red means done. And I think I'm like, done? And that I should feel that freedom, but I'm just kind of thinking like, well, maybe I could think up some other self-imposed challenge to complete.
There will also be more goths and more girls.
Yeah. Goths have powers, dude. That's like real. That really happened.
Yeah.
Josh McVitie's got powers. He does. I saw the fucking apprehension engine he made. Are you trying to tell me that human hands could make such a thing? No.
Only cloven hooves could do such a thing.
Cloven hooves. Hell yeah. I was thinking that maybe the Spy Family anime would bring me back in, because I've been reading the Spy Family manga since it came out on the old Shonen Jump app. The manga is so good. It really is worth all the hype. It's gorgeous art. The characters are lovable, very funny faces on the girl. She does funny faces that you can use in your meme. The stories are entertaining. The gags are funny. The relationships make your heart warm. It's a fantastic manga. It deserves all the success it's got. And I'm like, I'll watch the anime. And buddy, you know what happened? I watched the first episode and I was like, man, the pacing of the manga is much better. This is really taking forever to get to the good part. And I stopped watching because I'm an old crotchety dumbass. And you know what else? People don't listen to big band music these days.
Oh man, we didn't get to do it, but there was a joke, a motif I told Tom about a while, like for the next time we do sort of a longer form thing. I wanted it to take place in the future, and it just so happened that at this point in the future is also experiencing a huge big band revival moment.
Yeah, that was not able to be put into the project that we're working on for various reasons. However, objectively hilarious.
Oh, it's just, and it's not even like it's new to them. Like, this is a new trend. The characters would just be like kind of annoyed by it, but like, wow, big band's back. Wow.
It's very funny. That is one genre that I don't think is ever coming back, because how often do you find a guy who's like playing the sax, and how often do you meet like 10 guys playing the sax and be like, now we got to find 10 guys who play the horn, and then we got to find 10 guys who play the fucking
How often
trombone.
are you going to find a bunch of guys who call themselves the Cherry Poppin' Daddies?
They're a swing band. That's a totally different thing.
It's the same shit. There's too many guys and there's a lot of brass. It's fine.
That band should go
have
to
a
jail
different
for
name.
their awful name.
It's just gotta. They need to just be different.
Yeah, they should stop. Personally, I don't think it should be allowed. My grandfather was his entire life a big band aficionado, and he thought that all music that came after was just worthless, which was very funny because he had like it's like the opinion that you would have of like hair metal that's like very sleazy and like about drugs and having sex, and it's like, oh,
but it's like 15, but it's 50 years too early.
Yeah, it's about like of the first rock songs where like the guitar is like 1 decibel and it's mostly a single saxophone, and he's like, hey baby, let's go to the beach in my Thunderbird, and he's just like, I can't believe it, only 1 saxophone, It's like, what, is this even music? It's like there should be 20 guys with saxophones. It's very funny.
I shouldn't be able to think right now.
Maybe one day we'll watch anime again. I heard that Mob Psycho is coming back for a 3rd season. We should probably watch that. That's
yeah,
cool.
I'll watch that. I'm invested in that very much.
I like my little psychic boy.
Yeah.
I like Reagan, not from America. The Japanese con man Reagan.
I'm getting my anime manga fix with monthly Kengan Omega. It's the only thing I'm reading currently, and it's just like every Wednesday is a little treat because that's when this new scanlation hits.
I've been reading, you're not going to believe this, One Piece. Luffy, I'm not going to spoil too much, but Luffy really punched a bad guy very hard recently.
I heard he loves to stretch and his friends.
Yo! Joe! Spoilers! People might be not current who are listening to this.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I feel like they might get over it. That's all the time we have for Anime Sickos this week. Thank you all for listening. I have been Tom in Anime Sicko.
I've been Joe in Anime Sicko.
We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Anime Sickos. I've been Tom, a sicko. You can follow me on Twitter at TomHarrison19. Joe is also a sicko. You can follow him on Twitter at ShariaUncle. You can follow Anime Sickos on Twitter at Anime Sickos or email us at animesickos@gmail.com. Please leave us a review or something. I don't know. Tell a friend. Anyway, until next time, bye.